Since its inception, the Islamic Information Center has been an active pursuit of building bridges across faiths, communities, both local and global. It is only through dialogue, mutual trust, and cooperation that the world communities can progress towards achieving peace. Real peace and harmony can be realized only through respect for the unique cultures, customs, and traditions of different people around the world. Keeping this in mind, IIC has initiated a series of mutual learning programs with organizations of different faiths, and one of the key participants in this dialogue is the Temple of Emmanuel.
This year I had a wonderful experience. I had an opportunity to go to Istanbul and to visit the Blue Mosque. And I had a room opposite the mosque, and at night I opened the door and opened the window, and I saw white birds flying above the mosque, and I felt like the power of prayer rising up. And I realized that the Jews and Muslims share a common tradition, a sense of the oneness of God. We both have sacred texts that are important in our lives, the Torah and the Quran. Both our traditions are based on a sense of law, and that law has a foundation of justice and compassion. We share so many stories as well. Of course, Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac are brothers, and we'd like to see that tradition grow together, that we still share that brotherhood. I'm delighted that Temple Emmanuel and the IIC are building bonds of knowledge and friendship together with a dialogue this past year, which I'm sure will continue. Our group has been very enthusiastic to learn from each other, and I think we're making inroads here that this dialogue between IIC and Temple Emmanuel and our local Washington communities can be a model for communities, not only throughout this nation, but throughout our world, that we share a common journey together, and we can impact our world.
We are attempting to learn more about each other's faith. At least that's our starting point. And we've had a number of meetings. We have roughly 12 people from each organization has been meeting together. At the first meeting, which was held in the mosque, we were introduced to the Quran. We learned about its structure. We learned about some of the prayers, and we learned how the Quran is relevant to the congregants, and how meaningful it can be for all kinds of occasions in their lives. We hope to continue this dialogue, meeting, I think, to learn not only more about each other's religions. Initially we're focusing on the commonalities, and there are a great many commonalities, but also we will begin to focus on differences, but not just in religion. We're going to also look at history, look at our cultures, and look at our aesthetic values. So I think this is going to be a very, very productive, useful endeavor on both parts. It's important that we learn more about each other.
The more we learn about the cultural and religious values of other faiths and traditions, the better we will be able to form a progressive society for our generations to come. It is through sharing our special religious occasions with other faiths we can make other communities more aware of our traditions and religious values, so they can have an in-depth understanding of Islam. This Ramadan, IIC organized the program Sharing the Blessings of Ramadan, and invited groups of Jewish and Christian faiths and county and state officials to make them aware of the lessons of patience and tolerance that Islam teaches through fasting.
I think there's an opportunity here for BJC and the IIC to model for the rest of the world here in America, the land of opportunity, the golden land, how we can live with each other in peace and harmony. For most of our shared history, we have indeed been able to live together as brothers and sisters. It hasn't been a perfect history, but nevertheless, we have learned from each other. And in so doing, I think we have become better Jews, and you have become better Muslims. Even our praise words are the same. Even our words of greeting, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleichem, are the same. And so to you, we say Salam Aleichem. We wish to be able to continue this relationship, to learn from each other, to grow, and to truly become the best communities that we can be.
Recently, IIC also conducted a dialogue session with visiting Iranian delegation of Abrahamic faiths to continue to create bridges across civilizations.
Some years ago, I was involved in the publication of a book entitled Religion, the Missing Dimension of Statecraft. And this is a book that the purpose of which was to explore the positive role that religious or spiritual factors could play in actually preventing or resolving conflict, while at the same time advancing social change based on justice and reconciliation. So it was not peace for peace sake, but peace for justice sake, which is an important distinction. Well, the book came out in 1994 and has enjoyed tremendous acclaim around the world. You'll find that many universities and seminaries, colleges have incorporated this book into their curriculums because of the enthusiastic response the book has had. I felt led to walk the talk, and therefore established 5 years ago the International Center for Religion and Diplomacy, whose basic function is to practice faith-based diplomacy. Simply put, that means incorporating religious concerns into the practice of international politics. Even more simply put, it means making religion part of the solution in many of these problem areas. Now, we've been doing this for some 5 years now, actively working in the north of Sudan, in Kashmir, Pakistan, and now Iran. Practicing faith-based diplomacy in all cases, trying to facilitate peace, if you will. And in the process of so doing, we have found on a number of occasions that it was very useful to collaborate with the Islamic Information Center, which also shares this vision for bridge building and reaching out. I had the opportunity of addressing a group there one evening that was reaching out to the not only the community but the entire state. So I would like to personally applaud Imam Naqvi and the rest of his leadership team at the Islamic Information Center for the great work they're doing in bridge building across religious divides, across political divides, and to express my personal pleasure at being able to partner with them in these efforts.
IIC's voice is consistent and persistent in resolving global issues with a peaceful dialogue and the importance of faith in social and political life.
In the Washington area, the Muslim community is watching what's happening in Baghdad very closely. As Gary Reels reports, the Shiite cleric Muqtada Sadr is widely viewed as an extremist whose arrest could cool tensions among Iraqi's Shiite people.
At the Jafariya Mosque in Burtonsville, Maryland, where as many as 2,000 Shia worship each week, the imam agrees with the characterization of Sadr as a rabble-rouser.
It's a very small group that you are seeing these uprisings and things like that, but not the entire Shia community at large. I don't see any problem with those Shias there.
Imam Naqvi believes the confrontation with Sadr will actually strengthen the position of Ali Sistani, the Grand Ayatollah of Iraq's Shia population.
Sistani is like a topmost authority for the Shias, and the Shias at large, they listen to him. So USA always needs him right from the beginning.
Sistani has been far more moderate and patient with U.S. occupiers than Sadr's followers, but he has not embraced them either. Sistani, too, is demanding an appropriate Shiite representation in an Islamic state of Iraq, and so far that has not met with the Bush administration's view of Iraq after Saddam Hussein.
It is not that Islam is against democracy. Islam is one thing, or democracy is another thing. Now, Islam also says the same thing. But saying very explicitly in an Islamic state, and where the majority are Muslims, and you say, no, there cannot be an Islamic state so abruptly and clearly, I mean, that is not a good thing to say.
Imam Naqvi says Jafariya's congregation in Burtonsville has nearly doubled in size in just the past year since the fall of Iraq.
This proactive approach has helped IIC in becoming a leading voice of Muslims in North America on critical issues like women's rights.
It's a misunderstood notion that Islam restricts women to become active members of the society. At IIC, we have been engaged in voicing issues that Muslim women face today and dispel this wrong impression about women's rights in Islam. And I would give you a good example. Recently, IIC actively participated in the International Women's Day at Capitol Hill to discuss and find solutions about the problems the women face in this modern world and restore their God-given rights.
Along with many other news organizations, Voice of America invited Ms. Mulana, director of IIC, to present the true stance of leadership of women in Islam. Recently, UN invited Imam Naqvi to address a conference on Islamophobia at United Nations, presided by UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. In order to keep the Muslim community informed about the developments in the U.S. and around the world, IIC devised response systems and publications to voice the true concerns of Muslims. IIC uses all the possible mediums to carry out the message to the public, including governmental and non-governmental organizations. One of the mediums to raise the issues is a quarterly publication called the IIC Monitor.
We started the IIC Monitor because we wanted to address the concerns of the Muslims of North America and also share commonalities with other faiths. We see it more like a systematic dialogue with society to strengthen the collective conscience and at the same time dispel any misconceptions about Islam in the public media. We give more specific attention to dialogue among the youth of different faiths, as it's they who will be the leaders of tomorrow.
The IIC Monitor covers global and local issues of Muslims, as well as social issues, youth concerns, religious events, and important aspects of faith for Muslims, Christians, and Jews.
Our contributors are from different walks of life from all over North America, with an emphasis on our youth, whom we encourage to write more actively on the issues they face in their lives.
The IIC Monitor keeps the Muslims of North America updated on issues, but at the same time serves as a collective voice that is being circulated among churches and synagogues. Not even that, non-government and government organizations alike, such as the FBI, Department of Justice, and county executives, city officials, politicians, Office of the Governor, and many U.S. congressmen and senators.
The Islamic Information Center's website is a dynamic website that presents views and analysis on the current issues of the Muslims in North America, and also is a source of the true teachings of Islam. For instance, an up-to-date response on the critical issues of faith and social concerns of the Muslims of North America, IIC has developed an info alert and action alert emailing system for immediate dissemination of information. It has been a source of information for U.S. senators and organizations like the Department of Justice. IIC has also become one of the sources of authentic information for the news media.
You're watching NBC4 working for you, live from the area's leading news station. This is News 4 at 11.
The Justice Department is making an effort to improve race relations for Muslim and Arab Americans. About 300 people came to an interfaith meeting in Adelphi yesterday. A representative from the Justice Department spoke to the gathering. Many people in the audience expressed concern about recent hate crimes directed against Muslims. Early last Thursday, a wooden cross was set on fire outside the Al-Huda School in College Park. And last April, a bus was set on fire at the Dar al-Hijra Mosque in Falls Church. Some people say that they think it's because of public misperceptions about Islam.
Islam is not a anger-based religion, and it's not a fanatical religion and such, and that not everyone believes in death and destruction and everything like that.
Yesterday's event was sponsored by the Islamic Information Center. The group has been behind a series of Arab, Muslim, and Sikh cultural awareness seminars since the September 11th terrorist attacks.
IIC continues to work with several other faiths and organizations, including the Office of the Governor of Maryland. This Governor's Colloquium will be an ongoing process involving religious leaders of other faiths. Through this, we hope to achieve better understanding, harmony, and peace, not only within our communities, but we intend to replicate this in other areas as well.
My name is Anutama Dasa, and I am the Director of Communications for ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is a monotheistic tradition within the broader Hindu culture. And as a culture that's coming from South Asia and was brought to this country just 40 years ago or so. It's been very important for us to make interfaith involvement and working with people of other religious traditions a priority. And it's in that context that I've come in contact with Imam Naqvi and the Islamic Information Center. And we've been working on some different projects in terms of coordinating a large statewide opportunity for dialogue between people of different religious groups. And that's, I think, something that's of great importance, especially in this day and age, especially in this area where there's such a wide diversity of people and different cultures and different religious traditions. So therefore, for many, many reasons, I'm very pleased as the communications director for ISKCON, or the Hare Krishna Temples internationally, as well as the president of our local temple here in suburban Maryland, to have the opportunity to work with the Islamic Information Center and Imam Naqvi, and to build better bonds of understanding and communication, and to work together to enrich in our communities and to enrich in the contributions that we make to the people of the metropolitan Washington region.
Let these words of my mouth be sound, the creations of my heart be light, so I can see myself free of desperate symbols, mindful and God.
على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
Before such a program, so we welcome you, all of you, and may God bless all of us. Peace.